Young couple that moved from the country to the city. It was quite a shift for them. The husband's job had changed and they were trying to make the best of it. He actually was quite surprised how well his wife was adjusting to the urban environment. She made friends with the neighbors and she began to find different groups she could be involved in and whatnot. She was, as you can tell, a stay-at-home mom. So, except there was one little fly in the ointment, and that was the folks across the street. There was a tattoo shop across the street. As you can imagine, it attracted a certain, shall we say, clientele. In fact, there are many, many fights that broke out, both inside and outside the tattoo shop. And this really distressed the woman. We'll call her Linda. So Linda would just kind of, walk around the house and muttering to herself about how frustrated she was and how they were bringing down the neighborhood. It was such a good neighborhood because she'd met so many people. And yet, she couldn't let it go. Her husband just kind of observed all this. And then one day, she decided to do something different. She went across the street, and she went inside. So the proprietor said, "Well, what is it you want?" She says, "I don't know. I just thought I'd come and see my house from this side of the street, and just to see what it's like inside." They were all men, all big burly men. They had tats all over their body. And one of the customers began to talk to her and says, "Why are you so nervous?" She said, "Well, I'm afraid of all of you." "What are you afraid about?" he yelled out. "We're not going to hurt you." He said, "Oh, no, but all the fights." She said, "I live across the street over there. And not only am I afraid, but my 2 children are afraid." So Manuel looks up at the proprietor and says, "Hey, Jose, you're scaring everybody." "What are you talking about?" "This lady here says you're scaring her, all the people you brought in here." They start a conversation. And lo and behold, she goes out and sits on the curb with 3 other prospective clients. She begins to notice all the tats. One guy turns to her and says, "So what are you going to get done?" She says, muttering, "Love thy neighbor." "What's that?" She says, "Well, it's from the Bible." So she goes back in when it's her turn. And the guy gets ready and he whispers to her. He says, "How do you spell thy?" One of the guys over here says, "It's from the Bible." "I ain't never read the Bible. I can't even read." So this whole new world opens up to her, and sure enough, he taps right on her wrist, "Love thy neighbor." So one of the guys says, "Why do you want to write that out of all the things?" She says, "Because it's the most important lesson I have to learn from each of you, is how to love you." About a week later, she had gone to get her car repaired, and she was surprised that when she arrived at the car repair shop, there was the owner of the tattoo shop. And he turns and goes, "There she is. That's the lady I was just telling you about. She's a neat lady." And the mechanic was rather surprised by the conversation, but what it taught her is how you treat one person can influence the entire neighborhood. Today's gospel is often misunderstood, shall we say politely. Jesus isn't angry because people are paying temple tax. He's angry for something that perhaps we don't realize. You see, on the outside of the temple, in stone, it says, "A house of prayer. This house of prayer shall be a house of prayer for all peoples, all nations." It's a quote from the prophet Isaiah. But Jesus is angry, and that's why he says this is a house of robbers, of romance. Is that the religious leaders were robbing people of their right to worship God here. There were 8 different classes of people who were not allowed inside. Some of the classes may surprise you. For example, shepherds. They were seen as thieves, prostitutes. Long list of 8 different groups. Jesus was living in a prophetic mode by saying, this is a house of prayer for all peoples. And so another way to say it is, he's trying to show them, as religious people, you need to learn how to love all people, to accept all people as the Father does. You know as well I do, we live in a very violent, divisive time, where people are aligning themselves with certain groups, certain philosophies, certain theologies, certain ways of being. But what's most distressing is we've done this in the church too. Do you know the number one thing that Jesus castigated religious people for? You'd be surprised. And I'll give you a hint, it has nothing to do with sex. It's judgmentalism. That's his number one beef with religious people, especially religious authorities. So to love thy neighbor, let's begin with each other. Let's do what this woman did. Come and sit with the other side. See what it looks like from their perspective. Let's ask each other's stories. How did you get to this position? You know, I don't understand your feelings about this. Could you help me understand where you got to that? You'd be surprised. And who knows, you and I may once again be able to learn not only how to spell love thy neighbor, but how to live it.